When I was first shown this technique, I questioned its efficacy. Usually when taping a joint, we're often looking to support or restrict a range of motion of the joint in order for repair and recovery to be enhanced. And yes, under certain circumstances we will want to restrict motion of the shoulder joint in the affected ranges of motion. This technique offers support without restricting too much range of motion. The shoulder gives up stability for mobility, and in order for it to be functional, it needs to have a greater range of motion than many other joints. From a biomechanical perspective, I struggled to see how this technique was effective. However, with the advent of unloading techniques as pioneered by people like Jenny McConnell, this technique made sense. It may not restrict range of motion, but it may unload painful elements, enabling pain-free range of motion. Bearing this in mind, we will start with a simple beginning and build on this until we have achieved the desired effect. For this technique, you're going to need a 50mm fixation tape, adhesive spray, 50mm zinc oxide tape and tape scissors. Make sure that the area to be taped is clean and not too hairy, as this can impede the effectiveness of the tape. Wash and shave the area if necessary. Apply the hypoallergenic balm, under wrap or adhesive spray as applicable to the person being taped. Here I'm using adhesive spray as I'm not going to wrap my anchors around the torso or arm. Ask the patient to sit at the edge of the plinth, not in the middle, as you'll have to lean too far across to apply the tape. Ask the patient to place their hand on their waist. This will have the effect of raising the shoulder girdle, or you could place a rolled up towel or cushion under the arm to get the same effect. We will apply the tape in this position, and when the patient puts their arm back down again, the weight of the arm will add to the support of the tape. Ask the patient to turn their head away and close their eyes while we spray across the trapezius from the chest to the upper back and around the upper arm. We could use elastic adhesive bandage to wrap around the torso and then across the trapezius, and we could wrap around the upper arm. However, we're going to use a fixation tape as our anchor. First we measure how much tape we will need across the trapezius and upper arm. In the front, we want to start in the upper chest, avoiding as much as possible the breast in women, and running across the trapezius to around the mid-scapular region between the medial border of scapula and the spine. On the upper arm, we're going to run anterior to posterior from the mid-biceps to the mid-triceps around the arm at approximately the level of the deltoid insertion. These are our primary anchors and are basically laid on without any tension. In true unloading style, we're going to use more strips of measured fixation tape, approximately following the line of the deltoid muscle, from front to back or back to front, it doesn't matter, as these are only anchors. We continue with our secondary anchors until we cover the whole of this upper shoulder girdle region. In order that we do not have a large lump of tape in the region of the deltoid insertion, we're going to start each subsequent tape alternating between anterior and posterior, halfway up the previous tape. This will give the effect of a basket weave and will mean we don't have a large lump of tape in any one area. Our strips are with zinc oxide non-elastic tape. We're going to start again at the deltoid insertion, this time holding the tape at the lower anchor. Applying tension, we pull directly up and over the AC joint to the upper anchor. The effect we're after is puckering of the skin under the zinc oxide tape. This is important to the unloading of the underlying tissues. Make sure that the tape is properly secured by rubbing down all the edges. We're now simply going to follow the same technique over the rest of the secondary anchors, from the lower to the upper anchor, using the same format as we used for the secondary anchors. As with all closing techniques, we simply want to hold down all the loose ends. Ask the patient to lower their arm. This will give further sensation of support, as the weight of the arm is supported by the tape. Don't forget to ask them how the tape feels and make sure they can function adequately with the tape on.